Hello, everybody. We are live. Happy Saturday.
Did you miss me?
I
Oh,
missed you, Seth.
I missed you too. It's
I was
good to
so
be back.
jealous. Yeah, that you went on the cruise.
It was I've never that's I've never done like two cruises like 60 days apart before. And I actually paid for this one. The last one was
Oh,
free. Yeah. Um, but it was a really good trip. Really, really good trip.
that's
But I
good.
missed you all.
Yes, I missed chatting about all the things and then people leaving the chat because they get sick of us talking about theater or something.
How did Matt do as my replacement? Do you think he
he
passed the audition?
I think so. He was great. He kept up with like the rhythm and the flow of the conversation very well. We stayed under an hour, which was
Good.
always great.
Did he do better than Carrie Bradshaw did on her podcast in the first episode of the new Sex in the City?
I haven't watched that, but I see everyone online
The,
talking about Peloton in relation.
yeah, I don't think that episode was good for their stock price.
I think it dropped immediately. Um, I will watch it just because I definitely watched Sex in the City when I was younger and not supposed to.
well, I was male and not supposed to, but I watched it. So
Whatever. HBO is good TV. Um, let's see. Michael says it's time for the podcast, but Michael first with an update. Still sore
ooh,
from riding the Velocicoaster this past Saturday. And happy early birthday to you.
Michael must have ridden in the back row because it's got a little bite in the back row, but it is a
Yeah.
really smooth. It's powerful, but it's really smooth.
I'm dying to get down there and try it.
Well, happy
Uh,
happy almost birthday, Michael.
Brian says, was in a food coma yesterday. It was my 31st
Oh, I feel
birthday
you.
and did Korean barbecue and
Oh,
hand
Korean
pulled ice
barbecue.
cream. Yum.
Uh, there's a chain here in Orlando called Izzyban that's all you can eat Korean barbecue and sushi.
Oh, that
It's
sounds
very
amazing.
dangerous. Very
Oh,
dangerous.
yes. Well, one of my favorite places to go eat here in Austin is a rotating sushi bar. So they have like the
Oh,
little
like a conveyor belt
tracks.
style?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
those are dangerous because you could just keep pulling plates and it's all so
Soon you've
good.
got a big stack of colored plates and
Yeah,
it all adds up.
you save the
Yep.
stack until you're ready to leave and then you put them all on the thing.
There's one of those in Las Vegas that is an all you can eat conveyor belt
Oh my
sushi.
god.
So you don't even have to keep track of your plates. You just keep grabbing.
That's what I want because you have to pay at this one it's per plate and then they
Yeah.
have some a la carte stuff that's a little bit more expensive, but uh, maybe I'll do that for lunch today.
Oh, now you're making me hungry.
Okay, well we were at
Have another
24
cup of coffee.
and then we started talking about food and then we dropped to 16, so I'm going to go ahead and say we get started. All right, in 3, 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 117 of the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by Destinations with Character Travel. I'm Brittany,
And I'm Seth.
and we're here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And Seth is back this week.
Yes.
Seth, how was your cruise?
I had a great cruise. I've had a crazy couple weeks. It's been fantastic. I did miss you. I missed doing the podcast last week, but I went from a big art event in Miami, came back to Orlando to interview Chef Morimoto, which was really exciting. That interview just posted up on attractionsmagazine.com.
Yes, it
And
did.
then I had to run to Canaveral and hop on a cruise ship. It's a rough life. It's tough.
It's so hard for
But
you.
no, I've made it back, and I am glad to be back in the world of theme parks. I haven't been to a theme park in like almost 2 weeks, so
It's a
I'm gonna have
crime.
I'm gonna have to go real soon.
They're going to take your card away. Card carrying theme park person.
Right? You've got what? Well, we're gonna delist you. So how have you been since I've been away?
I've been good. It's the end of the year, and we're starting to get ready to go visit our families up
Yay!
in North Carolina and Southwest Virginia very very soon. Um, and I went and saw Hamilton last week.
First time seeing it in person,
First time seeing it in person.
and did
Never
it live
thought
up to the hype?
it was incredible.
Yay!
It was Magical, I would think, is the word, except for the person who sat next to me and hummed all of the songs the entire time. And I even said before, Josh was sitting next to me, and I was like, I swear to God, if someone sings while we're here, I'm gonna lose it. And sure enough, the person sitting next to me hummed everything that wasn't rapping. She hummed the entire time. But it was fine. They had everything turned up loud enough to where like you can mostly drown it out. But the cast was incredible, and
Mm,
the staging, and not watching it on Disney Plus, which I definitely
yeah.
did when they uploaded it. It's a totally different ball game seeing it
Hmm.
staged in person. Um,
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, it
And
was so
and
great.
that original Broadway cast that's on the Disney Plus version, they're legends, but all of the touring companies that are out are just as good, and everyone kind of makes the characters their own. I
Yes,
got to see an amazing Aaron Burr, uh, and Nick Walker, who's on tour and just like tore it up.
yeah.
So yeah, if you get a chance to see that, it's expensive, but it's worth the money.
We ours was because I we wanted to take a trip to New York really, really bad, and like we
Hmm.
got the New York bug in the middle of COVID, and then on Broadway in Austin started selling their packages for 2021-22,
Hmm.
and I was like, what if we did this instead? And I saved up and I splurged on it, and Hamilton was like an additional on top of the season, I
Yep,
guess.
that's how they get you.
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
but
you got to buy this so that you can then buy the thing you really want.
but it was so worth it because we
Yep.
saw Hamilton, and then we get to see Hadestown, which is my favorite
Yes,
musical
that's
of
coming here
all
to Orlando
time,
too.
in
Awesome.
January, and it will literally be a religious experience for me. But then like Lion King is coming after that, and Mean Girls next August, so it was
We got that
totally
one. I
worth
was
it.
That was surprisingly good. I really enjoyed that
I'm
one.
I'm excited. We
If
uh
you get Tootsie, you might want to pass on that.
we
We
did
just
get
yeah, that
Tootsie
was.
and Donna Summer, the
Hmm.
summer musical.
Well, support your local theater.
Yes, always love the
And we
theater.
better move on before our
Yes.
theme park fans start burning down the chat.
Sorry. I was just really Hamilton was great. Whatever. Get mad. Without any further ado, let's get into this week's news. First up this week, a magical bit of joy for you from Hong Kong Disneyland. They are now offering Disney fairy tale wedding packages that allow you to get married in front of the Castle of Magical Dreams.
I think this is another reason, I guess, if you are a Disney super fan, to hope that China reopens their parks to American tourists. I guess that could be a serious destination wedding. I actually got married at Disney World, but not in front of the castle. So that's pretty special. They don't do that very often here in Orlando. I suppose if you have enough money, you could have
Yeah.
that done. Usually, you just see people getting engaged in front of the castle in Orlando, and they don't pay for that. They just do it and go viral on social
Sometimes they
media.
do pay for it.
Sometimes they do pay for it. Yeah, you can pay
Yeah.
for it, or you can do it on the sly. I actually know someone who got married in the parks without permission by just smuggling
Ooh.
in, their whole party and an officiant, and just doing it before security caught them.
The drama.
Can be done.
This one is really cool
I don't.
though.
I don't imagine you'd want to try that in China, because I think their security might be a little stricter than in Florida.
No, let's do it legitimately if you have to do it at all. But this one you can have up to 100 guests sitting in the castle courtyard area, get married in front of the Castle of Magical Dreams, and then you get a fountain show as part of your ceremony, which is
That's a
insane.
nice perk. A little mini world of color for your wedding.
And they also have options where they can take care of your wedding dress and your hair and your makeup, the suits for your groomsmen, the dresses for your bridesmaids, a stay in the Hong Kong Disneyland Hotel, and an elegant brunch in the Royal Banquet Hall after your ceremony, which I assume would be before the park opens, followed by time in the park. So you get like the whole thing taken care of, basically.
And I don't think we have prices listed for this, but I think if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Even Cinderella's pumpkin carriage is available for photos if you like.
Yes, but it is an additional
Oh, everything
fee.
is an additional fee.
Um, but they have all sorts of options. Like, if you want Disney to take care of everything, like if wedding planning sounds like a nightmare to
Hmm.
you, you can do that with them and they will do everything. But I thought it was cool that they get a fountain show because you don't see any of the other parks doing that because they can't. But
Yeah,
still, very
sounds
cool.
like a nice perk, and that would make a very lovely wedding album to look over when you get divorced in three
Oh
years.
my anyway, recently Six Flags has been sending out surveys to their email list, kind of judging the interest, engaging the interest on future offerings at the Six Flags parks across the U.S.
It's a very interesting lineup of proposed types of attractions. We usually think of Six Flags as a big iron park. When Six Flags makes a new addition, it's usually a giant coaster or at least a very advanced flat ride. Um, and this is them going in a whole different direction with smaller, more intimate experiences. A lot of stuff that, frankly, I saw sitting on the attraction floor at IAPA very recently. Um, and, a lot of things that you might expect to find more at a small regional fun fair or family entertainment center more than a Six Flags. So some surprising choices. Some virtual reality and augmented reality concepts, which obviously that kind of stuff is very popular and doesn't involve building a lot of infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
But also some kind of interactive playgrounds, almost like an advanced Chuck E. Cheese or one of these traveling walkthrough exhibits that you might see based on superheroes or on Looney Tunes. The one that interested me the most, I think, was the opportunity to design a roller coaster and then print out a 3D model of it. Uh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But some of this stuff is kind of a little cheesy. Like there's like it looks like an arts and crafts class where you make a tiny little Wonder Woman's golden lasso, and a laser tag, something that looks like a Triotech XD Dark Rider, which is the kind of thing. Is one step up above a family video arcade, bumper cars with virtual reality headsets. So a real wide range of some stuff that's kind of ambitious, like the Cloud Coaster from I believe that's Extreme Engineering. They've demoed this at IAPA, which is basically a little zip line shaped like a surfboard. But a lot of these things are things that you might see at on like a cruise ship, like a cruise ship uh, pedal car kind of thing, like they have on some of the Carnival ships. Um, but not the kind of thing that we really associate with a major amusement park. The only ones that really look to kind of push that thrill edge is some bungee jumping simulators, or a high in the sky kind of tilting simulation. That looks a little bit more on the extreme edge, but even that is the kind of thing that um, you might associate more with like a Las Vegas independent attraction than a big Six Flags chain. So some real interesting choices on this survey here.
Yeah, our contributor Sam took this survey, I can't tell you how many times, to try to gather
Get all the
all of the things. And I mean, it's all very interesting attractions based things, but I don't know if I would call them theme park adjacent attractions.
yeah. It's almost kind of like the stuff that if you went to like a Pigeon Forge or a Branson, or you'd see these kind of little standalone attractions maybe. Um, so, I mean, honestly, it looks to me like Six Flags is gauging ways that they can get some attention, get some interest without spending millions of dollars and all the planning and permitting that goes along with a major new ride.
Yeah.
So
Aren't we all?
we'll see. Obviously, this is all just surveys. Theme parks do surveys all the time, and a lot of time it goes nowhere. So, but if you happen to get an offer to take the survey, I don't know, going out to maybe Six Flags annual pass holders and that kind of thing, if you're on their mailing lists, give them your opinion.
Yeah. Maybe you'll get some different answers than
Yep.
we did. And then this next one is over at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. They have announced a new attraction called Gateway, the Deep Space Launch Complex, set to open on March 21st, 2022.
This is kind of cool because, a lot of the exhibits at Kennedy Space Center are kind of backwards looking. They focus on the history of the shuttle program or the Apollo program. And this is kind of looking forward to the new generation of rockets from companies like SpaceX and the Gateway plans to, sort of launch humans beyond our orbit, which we haven't really left much since the Apollo days. So this is kind of cool. You're going to get to see both replicas and actual used spaceships, including a SpaceX Falcon 9 booster rocket. So it'd be kind of cool to see one of those up close. But I think for attraction fans, the big draw is going to be the 4D flying theater. It's going to be a two-story flying theater, and it's going to have a variety of different programs. They're going to start out with 4 different journeys that you can take on it. We don't know exactly who is building this 4D flying theater. There's a couple companies out there like Dynamic that are putting these up around the country. But it'll be interesting to see how it compares to like Soarin' or the Lego Movie ride. Can never have too many flying theaters
Yes.
in this market, right?
We talked about one not too long ago in New York that was
Yes.
basically I rode Soarin' and I thought that was
Yep.
great. So now I want to build one for New York.
Yep.
Um, Very interested to see how they kind of turn that into a spacey type experience instead of just, flying outside in our Terran
Ye-
world, so to speak.
it almost reminds me. I think in maybe Dubai or Abu Dhabi, the Warner Brothers park, they have a 4D Green Lantern flying theater that goes out into space, and I think there's also one like that in the Bollywood park.
Mm,
So maybe a little like that. Who knows? But I do think it's kind of cool that for accessibility, if you don't want to actually ride the ride, there's going to be an observation window where you'll be able to, I think, see the ride film without actually getting on the ride vehicle.
yeah, that's also great for people with sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
limitations and boundaries, and motion sickness, even.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, Incredible for them. Another cool thing about the Gateway building is that the top of it, the roof, will have launch views that you can book for private events in case you want to see a SpaceX launch or something with a really cool view.
Yeah. And then if you get hungry, there's going to be a cafe with a show kitchen, and they're going to have kind of plant forward things like uh, noodle bowls, rices, to try out. So
Yeah,
sounds like a great addition to the Space Center, and it's opening, reasonably soon, March 21st, 2022, just a few months away.
it'll be here before we know it. And this is not an additional admission cost.
Yep.
It's all included in the price of admission. So that's great to see as well.
It's probably going to be a big draw, and
Hmm.
don't really know what the capacity is going to be on that ride. So if you do visit at Space Center, you're probably going to want to make that a priority during your stay.
Yes. Another one, this time a bit of cruise news for you. Margaritaville has officially announced their entry into the cruise market with Margaritaville at Sea.
Now, you may have wondered when Jimmy Buffett built his own cruise ship. The truth is, he didn't. This is actually a rebranding of an existing cruise line. I actually sailed on this cruise line. I believe this exact ship. They had 2 ships that were two sister ships. One of them, they got into some financial trouble and I think had to sell it off. But this was the other one, and it had gone into a dry dock, and we knew they were doing a refurbishment, but we didn't know that they were doing a complete rebranding. So it's if it wasn't enough for you to eat at the Margaritaville restaurant at City Walk and then stay at the Margaritaville Hotel in Kissimmee, you can now then take a cruise on a Margaritaville cruise ship, which is going to have a paradise casino. It's going to have a Fins Up Fitness Center. It's going to have a, was it Saint Somewhere Spa?
Yes.
Pretty much every bad pun you can derive from a Jimmy Buffett lyric will be represented somewhere on this ship. It's a 10-deck ship. It's only got 658 cabins. This is not a huge ship compared to one of the Disney ships. And I actually sailed on this a couple of years ago. They do these tiny little, basically 2-night cruises, and that basically exist to get you to the Grand Bahama Island, which is not Nassau. It's in the Bahamas, but it's not Nassau. And it was it was a cruise that I was given for free, and while I was very grateful to receive a free cruise, I probably would not have gone back if you paid me.
Mm.
So hopefully, the millions of dollars that they are pouring into this boat right now will significantly upgrade the experience. This boat was built back in the early '90s, I think, and when I was on it, it definitely looked it. But hopefully by the time that they start sailing on April 30th, it will look like a whole new ship. And so if you are a huge parrot head, add this one to your list of possibilities when looking for a cruise out of Florida.
Yes.
Goes Keep in mind it goes out of Palm Beach, which is not a very typical cruise port. Most people either go out of Canaveral or Miami or Fort Lauderdale. Palm Beach is a smaller cruise port. Though apparently they are upgrading their terminal they're using there and going to have a valet service that's supposed to speed the boarding process. So that will be very welcome.
I wonder if Jimmy Buffett will be on the maiden voyage or
Yeah,
not.
that's an excellent question. Especially since, well, it's interesting. The Margaritaville restaurant in City Walk is Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Yeah.
But the Margaritaville Hotel in Kissimmee is just Margaritaville without the Jimmy Buffett name. Apparently, there's a very fine distinction between things that have Jimmy Buffett's name and things that don't.
Hmm.
I'm not 100% sure if this is Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville cruise line or just the Margaritaville at Sea cruise line, and if that means he will be setting foot anywhere near it or not.
Very interesting. I didn't realize that. I mean, I figured that there was some kind of distinction, but
It goes. I asked about that when I attended the opening of the Margaritaville Hotel, and was basically told it's complicated.
oh, jeez. Well, we'll keep an eye on this. This isn't sailing until April, so we've got a while to wait for this one. And this is a rendering, I think, as well. So,
Yeah, I
um,
think they basically took a photo and then photoshopped the paint job over top of it. Right now, it's still in dry dock, as far as I know, being worked on.
yes. This one, I'm gonna go ahead and be honest and say that I've read this a few times. I still don't understand it.
All right,
So
I will try to help you out. I will try to help you out with this one.
so Disney Vacation Club has announced that Interval International is replacing RCI as
Hmm.
their exchange provider for your DVC points.
Yeah. So the deal is that, when you buy into Disney Vacation Club, you are buying a certain number of points that you exchange for your annual stay at, whatever resort. And you buy into a home resort, but then you can trade that instead for a stay at a different Disney resort. Or, subject to their very complicated rules, you can kind of trade those in with one of these networks that they belong to. there are various vacation club networks that let different companies exchange their guests. So, someone who has something at a maybe a Marriott Vacations can trade theirs for a Disney or vice versa if it's within a network. Um, Disney has had one network for a long time, and now they have dropped them and have joined a different network. The good news is that if you like the Marriott brands, Sheraton, Hyatt, Westin, you're now going to have access to those. The bad news is that if you had a particular property through the old network that you were really loyal to, now you're kind of stuck. Um, it's also interesting that the rules, as I said, are very complicated for exactly when and what you can exchange things for. It looks like right now you can use their short stay exchange program, but if you're used to booking out, weeks, you might be having to wait until they announce their additional programs at a later date. You'll be able to get discounts on certain rentals. You get some VIP perks. But right now, the direct exchange, hotel exchange benefit, it seems like it's not quite set in stone. So you've got until December 31st to book whatever you want under the old system. If you've already confirmed stuff, if you already got points depreciated under the old system, they're going to honor that through the end of this year. But you got a few. That doesn't give you a lot of time.
No.
Here's the deal. I'm not personally a vacation club type of person. They look at my annual income and they're not really interested in me. But if you are, my advice is always that invest in air quotes in a vacation club because you like the home property and you are willing to go back to that home property over and over again over the next 20, 30 years. Never invest in a vacation club based on whatever other bonus perks or other exchange offers because those things can change at any time.
Hmm.
You don't really have certain legal rights as a timeshare owner, but Disney or whoever you're buying through has a lot of leeway in making changes and substitutions, and if you don't consider it an equivalent substitution, your opinion might not really matter that much. So, buy because you like, the home resort you're buying into, and that's your primary purpose. Don't do it counting on being able to trade to a particular other place that's, in some sort of network because you might end up disappointed.
Yeah. And if you are wondering which of the DVC properties are included in this, it's Aulani in Hawaii, the villas at Disney's Grand Californian, Disney's Hilton Head and Old Key West Resorts, Disney's Boardwalk Villas, the Boulder Ridge Villas at Wilderness Lodge, the Beach Club Villas, Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa, Disney's Animal Kingdom Villas, Bay Lake Tower at the Contemporary, the villas at the Grand Floridian, the Polynesian Villas and Bungalows, Copper Creek Villas and Cabins at Wilderness Lodge, the Riviera Resort, and Vero Beach Resort. All of those are included in this.
Yeah, that pretty much covers them all, with the exception of are the California one? Yeah, Grand California is on there. So I guess the upcoming ones at the Disneyland Hotel, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that I think covers all the ones that are currently operating.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So if that affects you, keep that in mind and listen to Seth's pitch about not investing in one.
Read the
based on
fine
others.
print before you sign.
Yes. In a fun bit of news over at Universal Orlando, Revenge of the Mummy has claimed the forfeited souls of 100 million riders. Over
I
the
really
years.
enjoyed this podcast, but I would have enjoyed it more if I'd gotten my cup of coffee.
Listen, there.
Ah!
Ah!
Oh, that feels good.
Ghostly swoosh.
Ghostly swoosh.
Um, not much to say beyond that. It's just fun that this ride has been enjoyed for so long that it's hit 100 million. It is going down for maintenance though in about
Yeah.
a month, I think.
Well, I wish we could do the math on this because it opened in 2004. So we're talking, you know, less than 20 years, but we're almost getting up to its 20-year anniversary soon. Um, Almost 18.
Ugh.
So, but Velocicoaster hit 1 million riders within like the first summer it was open, right? Didn't we just
Yeah,
do a 1 million rider thing for Velocicoaster?
I think so.
So, uh, 100 million, that's a huge landmark. I'm almost surprised it isn't higher than that because it's been one of the most popular, consistently popular rides at Universal for a very long time. A lot of rides come out, they get a big burst of popularity at first and they slowly kind of decline. And Revenge of the Mummy has stayed in there for years and years.
Hmm.
So yay. Thank you, Reggie. Thank
Yes.
you, Reggie, for your sacrifice. Um,
um,
Speaking of Reggie, though, we
uh,
should we address the rumor?
I want to because I
Yeah.
really don't want it to happen.
So yeah, head on over to Orlando Park Stop. Alicia Stella kind of floated this idea. It is only a rumor. It is not confirmed, but it kind of makes sense that the video footage with Brendan Fraser is really dated. I mean, just on a technical level, it looks like something that was shot 20 years ago, and it's a big inside joke among us hardcore theme park fans. But someone who's walking into Universal for the first time might not probably have any idea what the plot of that ride is.
Yeah.
Uh, it was hard enough to understand in the old days when you actually have to walk through the extended queue and sit and watch the videos. But now that hardly anyone sees the videos, it really doesn't make sense why Brendan Fraser is yelling about a cup of coffee at the end. So if you like those gags, go ride it now because
Hmm.
it's closing on January 7th. And when it reopens in late 2022, Brendan Fraser and the cup of coffee might be gone.
It will be a dark day
Yeah.
in the timeline. I also want to point out this photo. Um, it's messing with my brain because I don't think the ride vehicle faces that way. I think it faces
It
the
absolutely does
opposite
not.
way.
It is either a very strange Photoshop or I don't know how it's got to be a Photoshop or either they put a ride vehicle on the track backwards
Yeah,
because
I
it don't work that way.
no. Yes, if you're watching the video version, this little corner right here, you go through that after he asks you to forfeit your souls and you don't ride away from it. I don't know. Very strange Photoshop, but I get it's a great
Yeah.
look. I see why you would want to do
Now
that.
now here's the thing. I personally have emotional. I was there when the Revenge of the Mummy first opened.
Oh wow.
I was there for the grand opening. I actually got to ride it a couple months before it opened when it was in testing.
Ooh.
And then when they relaunched it, when The Rock was there, because I remember The Rock played the Scorpion King. Got to meet him for the first time there. I love Revenge of the Mummy, but go and look on YouTube for videos of the Singapore version. Singapore version, I think, it's the most coherent thematically,
Hmm.
and it's very close in terms of layout to the Orlando version. If they did take out Brendan and make it like the Singapore version, I'd get over it eventually. I would get over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it. Because Alicia's report sounded very like bleak and sad when I was reading it. I was like, I can feel the pain in these words.
If the choice is between getting rid of Brendan, updating the effects, making it a little less celebrity specific and a little more understandable to the general public
Hmm.
versus gutting it and having another screen based ride.
No.
Just whatever it does, we have to do to say it because I mean they're obviously putting some love into it. If not completely retracking, then at least doing major, repair work. I want that ride to last for another 20 years. So
Yeah.
whatever that's that involves, I'm supportive of Universal Creative. I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt.
Universal Creative take the wheel. I will say though, I hope that they do some like I love the cup of coffee ending. I think it's really funny. But I also think you're going through this really intense dark ride roller coaster and then you come to a big black box at the end is
Yeah,
super jarring. Um so
and I
anything to that would be
and I
cool.
think my problem with that has always been that cardboard cutout face that blows the smoke ring at you, and then the brief burst of twinkle lights is not the effect that was originally intended. The original uh, design. Talk to Jim Hill if you want to know what the original ending was supposed to be like, but it was going to be much more impressive. And then the contrast between this huge, amazing effect and then slamming into Brendan Fraser on a video screen was supposed to be ironic. But when you go from a chintzy effect to a video screen, it doesn't have the same impact. So
Yeah.
if maybe we could get something closer to what was intended for that big finale, then I'm all on board.
Yeah. We let it's in your hands now. Universal. Be good to it, please. If you have to take Brendan out, I'll be sad, but we'll get over it. And some other Universal news. This was a very cute surprise. I wasn't expecting this at all. But Universal Orlando now has a walk around character for Earl the Squirrel, the fan favorite, the legendary.
So if you don't know the origin of Earl the Squirrel, I can remember hearing stories about this years and years ago from my friends who were in seasonal decor, who helped set up Halloween and Christmas decorations. That there was this squirrel that kept crawling inside the Christmas tree and stealing light bulbs. Apparently, he was really into blue light bulbs for some reason. And it started out as this quirky true story, and it just kind of built on it over the years. For a while, they've had a tiny little animatronic squirrel that pops out of a random spot in the tree, and every year it's kind of fun to look around and spot Earl. But this year, Earl has blown up.
Mm-hmm.
He is the star of the tribute store, like he was last year. He's got his own wall of fame. He's got merch for the first time, but now he is a walk around character. And this is perhaps the first time that I can recall, other than maybe the robot at Toothsome. Uh, but this is inside the park. I can't remember another walk around character inside Universal Parks that is, exclusively created just for Universal.
Yeah.
Universal creating an IP like this specifically for and not even for all their parks, but this is like very niche to Universal Studios Florida. Um, I think that's really cool, and I'm happy for the people in the entertainment department who obviously got some overtime this season putting all this together.
You'll be able to meet Earl if you want on select days from December 11th, which is today at the time we're recording this, through January 2nd. So, right around the busiest time of the holiday season, you'll be able to see him running around. Seems to be just around the Christmas tree in the New York section of the park. I would love to see him just kind of pop up randomly, causing chaos, because that seems to be his energy. But
Totally.
um,
He could be Universal Stitch, except with
exactly.
less chili burps.
Hmm. Maybe he's like nut scented, like acorny scent if you give him a hug or something.
Uh,
Um, it's very cute. The sculpt on the head is great.
yeah, great expression.
Yeah,
He's got even got an ugly Christmas sweater that says "I love acorns."
it's very cute. Definitely was not expecting this from Universal,
Yeah.
but lately it seems like they're very into this,
Hmm.
playing to the fans and the hardcore theme park heads, with their offerings. So very cool. I hope we get a video of meeting him very soon, so I can live vicariously through that. But go say hi to him if you can. And then Disneyland has announced some more hard dates, or as close to hard dates as they're willing to give, I guess, for entertainment returning in 2022.
I was gonna say by hard dates, I think we have spring, like we have a season. I don't know
Yeah.
if we have even like a month for any of
Mm,
these things, but starting sometime in the spring, the Main Street Electrical Parade, which has been killed and resurrected more times than Jason Voorhees, is back again for a 50th anniversary. That this show has glowed away more times and then returned. But I know a lot of fans will be lining up along Disneyland's Main Street to see the Electrical Parade come back. It's They're also bringing back Fantasmic, World of Color, and Disneyland Forever fireworks sometime after that. But your guess is as good as mine. When?
yes. But we do have a month for some live entertainment offerings in Disneyland. Celebrate Gospel and Tale of the Lion King, which used to be at Disney California Adventure, are both moving into the Fantasyland Theater in Disneyland Park starting in February.
I am kind of excited for Tale of the Lion King because I got to see this one when it premiered out at Disney California Adventure when they were performing it on kind of the amphitheater that's normally used for World of Color seating area. And it was a great show with a really talented cast, some fantastic dancing, a really unique way of telling the story, but there was no shade. It was in
Mm-mm.
the direct sun. It was brutal. So moving this to the covered Fantasyland Theater, which has very sadly sat dark for a few years now, ever since they ended the Mickey's Magical Map show. Uh, I'm very happy they're reactivating that space and giving this show a much better home. So
Yeah.
excited to see that one again.
It also offers a great opportunity for any kind of additional set deck for this
Hmm.
show. Because before they just had kind of like arches and
Yeah, it
more
was a super
implied
minimalist. Yeah.
decoration. So it would be really cool if they had like a dedicated backdrop, maybe some more intense, intentional setting.
Hmm.
Um, and then, of course, so glad to see Phantasmic finally coming back. And I believe the
Yes.
World of Color that's returning is the regular one. Um,
Yes, we should
yes.
be. But hopefully some of the seasonal ones might come back next year, like the Christmas or the Halloween.
Yeah. Brian brings up a good point in the comments. IDKY park officials said there is no immediate plans to bring back Magic Happens, and it won a TEA Brass Ring Award.
Yeah.
It literally ran for 2 weeks before COVID happened.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if enough people who vote for those TEA Brass Ring Awards actually were able to see it in that 2 week span of time. Or maybe they voted based on YouTube videos. I have no official confirmation of this, but the rumor that's going around is that the Magic Happens floats were cannibalized for spare parts in order to get Main Street Electrical Parade back up.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so
They were so
I
beautiful.
don't know if that's true or not, or if it's something that can be undone down the road. But this is the second time that Disney has invested in a fantastic new parade. Paint It the Night, which is one of my all-time favorite Disneyland parades, was killed long before its time. That's disappeared into a warehouse. Um, Please ship it to Florida. We'll take it.
Be fair to Florida.
We'll take any new parade at this point in Florida. We're desperate.
No, we're going to get Main Street Electrical Parade once Disneyland's done with it. Watch. I hate to speak that into existence, but I know that's
So
what's going to
I
happen.
I never got to see Magic Happens myself, and I would really like to. So yeah, I hope that that rumor is not true.
Man, I hope so too. Wow.
But it adds up. I mean, especially with supply chain issues, right now.
Yeah.
If you need they needed parts to get Small World. We didn't even really talk about that. Small World flooded out and got reopened in record time. And
Yeah.
apparently they were able to do that by shipping in parts from the Orlando and Paris versions. So hopefully nothing happens to those two,
Oh
because
my God.
I don't know where they'll get their spare parts from.
Yeah, because I think the talk was that it would be closed
Oh,
for
months
nearly
and months
all
and
of
months, which,
2022.
yeah, and then they really, there's a couple great news articles out there. Look them up about how they really rallied to get that ride reopened.
Yeah, man. Just be fair to Florida.
Yeah.
Give us a nighttime parade that isn't Main Street Electrical Parade, please. I'm begging. And in our last bit of news before the main attraction this week, Disneyland After Dark is coming back in 2022. So far, they've announced 3 themed nights for you to take photos and see characters and do all that fun stuff.
Woo. I would
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited. I might actually be there during their first one, which is in
Ooh.
February, Sweetheart Nights. My wife and I might be heading out there to do some research, and if we are there on February 1st, 3rd, 8th, 10th, or 14th, I think we might be investing the looks like it starts out at $114 per person. Hard ticket event. Basically get into Disneyland from about 5 o'clock. And then once the park closes to day guests, you're going to get a special themed fireworks show with romantic projection effects on the castle. This is the part that really appeals to me
Yes.
because I love the old date night at Disneyland TV specials from the 50s and 60s. They're going to have a jazz ensemble on the Mark Twain riverboat, and also a dance party, a royal ball. I guess that's probably going to be in the princess area by the castle. You're going to be able to do special photo ops with Disney couples, place to take selfies and other decor. Plus, there's of course special food and beverages. Um, it's I'm kind of cynical about hard ticket events because it's like you're going to pay basically full price for just a few hours in the park. But this one sounds like it's kind of something special, something different. If you're there with your special someone, I can think this might be a really fun way to visit the park.
Yeah, I have to agree. When I was writing out all of these, I was like internally like deciding if it would be worth it for me or not. And this one sounds very
Mhm.
sweet, and for the price, it's fair. I love that they're putting a jazz
Yeah.
ensemble on the riverboat.
This is the least expensive of them.
Yes.
It only starts at 114. If instead of your sweetheart, if you want to take your enemy, you can go to Villains Night, March 8th and 10th. And this looks like maybe a little sample of the Halloween event moved into the spring. Um, and you're going to be able to have obviously meet and greets with lots of villains. Ursula's doing a seaside sing along, which sounds like a karaoke contest party,
Oh,
which
Jesus.
that does definitely sound evil. Uh, an underworld dance party with a DJ. Backdrops to take photos with, of course. Again, themed food and beverage. The nice thing about these is that you get admission into the parks and you don't need to go through the theme park reservation system.
Yeah.
You also don't need to be an annual pass holder. Some of these events, started out years ago as things for annual pass holders. And now that the annual pass holder program is gone and we've got the Magic Key, it looks like these are available, tickets available to anyone. And I don't even see any mention of a discount for annual pass holders.
No. And then the last one, which honestly I would argue is the most expensive, but offers the least.
Yes, and probably the most likely to sell out.
Yes, is Star Wars Night happening on May 3rd, 4th, and 27th
May the
of
4th be with you. And I don't know what the 27th, I don't know what holiday. You think it would be the May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th, but no, it's the 27th.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a special Star Wars themed fireworks show, which I'm sure is going to be the biggest draw.
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing back the March of the First Order with Captain Phasma, which used to be just an everyday thing that happened in Tomorrowland, and now is something that they charge extra for. A galactic dance party, special Star Wars characters that you can cite, um, the food and beverage and the merchandise and the photo ops. Here's the big catch. Access to Star Wars themed attractions. It does not specify which ones. We would hope that Rise of the Resistance would be included. Um, they say they usually have shorter wait times, but they are not going to make any promises about what usually means or what shorter means.
Yes.
And I guarantee that no matter how limited this event is, however many people you have in there, a good portion of them are going to head straight for Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, yeah.
So it probably won't be as bad as, trying to jump in standby on, middle of a peak day, but I wouldn't expect you to just walk on that one.
Mm-mm.
You're Millennium Falcon, you'll probably be able to pilot as many times as you like.
Yes.
And Star Tours, yeah, you'll be able to just probably sit in the cabin if you want.
Yeah.
But Rise of the Resistance, I expect will still be very popular.
In the past, Disneyland After Dark events are usually capped pretty low as far as attendance goes. Um, I guess to add to the exclusivity of the thing. But in the past, with their Star Wars night specifically, they at first didn't offer Galaxy's Edge as part of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah, a Star Wars night with no Galaxy's Edge, and then I think they had Galaxy's Edge but no Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, never buy these tickets based on any one specific attraction because they do not promise that anything in particular will run.
Again,
For all you know, the Star Wars themed attraction is Launch Bay.
Oh my god!
You're spending $134 a person to sit in Launch Bay all night.
And also, this isn't the sightings of the Star Wars characters does not promise certain ones like that are super rare, like Boba Fett or any of the Clone Wars or Rebels characters. It's probably just going to be like Rey, Chewbacca, maybe Darth Vader, Stormtroopers, Kylo, that kind of thing. Specifically in Galaxy's Edge, you will not see any non-sequel trilogy characters for sure.
Oh no, they're not going to break their canon.
No. But if you bought a ticket to the 2020 Disneyland After Dark events that got canceled due to COVID, you can exchange your tickets for a 2022 ticket, depending on the theme and the pricing for those events. But you can only exchange for it the same event. Like if you bought a Villains Night ticket for 2020, you can only exchange it for a Villains Night ticket for 2022.
Here's the super weird thing. If you had a 2020 Star Wars night ticket, you can get an even exchange if you want to go on the 3rd or the 4th, which you think would be the popular nights. But something's happening on May 27th, because if you want to go on the 27th, there's an upcharge. You're going to have to pay an additional fee that is the difference between the prices. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Is there some other event going on? Is there a Star Wars celebration in Anaheim? Or what is happening on May 27th?
That actually
May
might 27th
be right. Is close to the anniversary of, well, didn't the original film come out on the 25th of May, 1977?
Yeah, Star Wars Celebration 2022 is taking place the 26th through the 29th. So
there you go. Now we know why the 27th is there and why it is more expensive.
Yes. So no doubt if you are going to Celebration, you will definitely want to get that 27th date, but be prepared for it to cost more because they will squeeze you for attending this convention and wanting to do all the Star Wars things. And
we don't take Republic credits here.
No Batu and Spira, none of that jazz here. But you'll have to call or purchase your tickets online. There are some launch dates for tickets in our article as well. Most of them start sale on January 11th with Disneyland After Dark Sweethearts Night already on sale as of December 9th. So keep that in mind if you want to go. I believe we have a video from 90s Night on our YouTube channel.
Oh, I wish they'd bring that one back.
I know. That one seemed like so much fun.
I want nights for all the decades. I want a 50s night. I want a 60s night.
Yes, that would be amazing.
I don't necessarily need a 70s night. I'm okay with that.
I would love to see a Marvel thing over in DCA. I think that would be a lot of fun. Bring out some of the more rare Disney Plus weekly characters that they throw out and then immediately take back.
I want a dance
Um,
party with all of the Loki variants at
oh my
once.
God, yes, all of them at once. And these are just three for 2022. That's not to say that there won't be more. There may not be more, but uh,
I'm sure if these sell out, there will be more.
yes. But very exciting to see these come back. They were gone for quite a while.
Yay. Nature
And
is healing.
yes, nature is healing. We're getting Disneyland After Dark back. It still costs a lot, and it's only like 5 or 6 hours long.
Yep.
But anyway, before we get to this week's main attraction, let's get a quick word from our sponsor.
Here at Destinations with Character Travel, we offer the best experience with your travels. Need to visit the thrilling Disneyland Resort, Walt Disney World? Maybe lounge about on a Disney cruise or any other major cruise line? No problem. So if you're looking for a stress and hassle-free vacation, visit us at www.destinationswithcharacter.com. Contact us today and let us plan a magical vacation for you and your family.
It's time for the main attraction!
And this week's main attraction is that Disney Genie has finally appeared at Disneyland Resorts, and the launch was not without its problems, from what I saw online.
I was never so glad and also frustrated to be on a cruise because okay, here's the weird thing. I on my iPhone I turned off roaming. I turned off cellular. I put on airplane mode. I did everything I could possibly think of to disconnect my phone from data. And yet still I was getting notifications. And so I was getting these notifications on, Twitter and Facebook, and it was all horror stories about Disney Genie on December 8th, on the launch day. But yet, since I didn't have data, I couldn't click through to actually see or respond to any of them. So it was really like watching this slow motion disaster from afar through like a thick pane of glass and not being able to do anything. But I'm so sorry for anyone who showed up on December 8th and thinking that it would just go perfectly smoothly. It was a little creaky on opening day in Orlando, but it didn't crash and burn the way it did
Yeah.
in California.
And I think this was the same day as that big Amazon
Yes,
outage
and
as well.
it is highly likely that those things were intertwined. As far as I know, Disney does rely on Amazon Web Services for some of their back-end servers.
And for Disney Plus too, because that also went down that day.
This is what, this is the digital supply chain. This
Yes.
is what happens when we let one mega corporation basically house the computers that run a good portion of, you think all these companies are separate, but it's on the back end, it's all tied together. And boy, the dominoes fell over hard on December 8th.
I saw stories of, I watched a lot of vlogs of people going that day where you couldn't make reservations or you
Hmm.
couldn't prove that you purchased Lightning Lane or Disney Genie Plus. So you would have to like pull up the receipt in your email to prove that you had purchased it so you could make a reservation. Um,
And at a certain point, I would have thought that they would just say, okay, we're hitting the eject button. We're doing automatic refunds to every single person's credit card who purchased this today, and we're just turning the system off today and
yep.
pretending we're just going to try it again tomorrow. Like, rather than make your frontline guest services people deal with all that, you just say, all
Hmm.
right, we're doing a do-over. Sorry, try again tomorrow.
Yeah. No, they
But
made everyone suffer through that.
I will say it seems like that opening day hiccup aside, we're now talking on the 11th. I'm not seeing today any kind of major meltdown. So it looks like they're settling in, and they're gonna get used to it just the way we in Orlando have gotten used to it. Honestly, it'll probably be an easier adjustment because they had Max Pass out there in California, and Max Pass is
Was
very, very
great.
close to what Genie Plus is. If you knew the one system, you're gonna figure out the new system.
The main thing I saw across the board from people was that they couldn't wait for Magic Bands to launch over there because it would make it even easier for them
Yeah.
instead of having to pull out your tickets or your phone to
Well,
scan every time.
the one annoying thing is that, with the system in Orlando, the touch points, you can tap your Magic Band, you can tap your phone if you have the mobile pass enabled. But in Anaheim, it's kind of like a barcode reader where you have to bring up a barcode on your phone and you have to swipe for each person in your party and rescan it. So, yeah, moving to Magic Band there or other mobile pass instead of the barcode reader, that will be a great improvement when that's all done.
Yeah. So over at Disneyland, it costs $20 even, no
hmm
tax on the price for Disney Genie Plus, which is
No,
nice.
no tax, and also you're getting a day of photo paths included, which is not included in Orlando.
Yeah, but that was
So that's a nice
standard with
price.
Max Pass when that was a thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Um,
Same price it was for Max. Max Pass was $20 before too.
yeah.
So you're basically the only difference between Genie Plus and Max Pass is that you're losing the included access to the individual Lightning Lane attractions, and there's only three of them at Disneyland: Radiator Springs Racers and Web Slingers in Disney California Adventure, and Rise of the Resistance in um, Disneyland Park. We originally thought that Space Mountain might be included in individual Lightning Lane, but it's not.
Yep.
So, and keep in mind, Web Slingers and Rise of the Resistance, if they are using Virtual Line, you can still get Virtual Line for free. However, they have both switched over to a standby system, and for right now, it doesn't look like Virtual Line's an option over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe on opening day, Rise was $20
hmm
additionally. But Brian in the chat says that guests got refund vouchers for any ride that day because of all the issues,
Yeah.
um, which is nice. I don't know how much Radiator Springs costs, but I would not, peace and love, I would not pay for web slingers.
It's interesting. Web Slingers, now that all the fans have tried it a couple times, I've seen wait times for that one dropping significantly.
Hey,
It is not. I don't think it's holding its appeal long term. In fact, I think long term, Toy Story Mania might still prove to be the more popular interactive ride in that park. Radiator Springs Racers, keep in mind, that's the one of those three that has a single rider line. So
yes.
if you don't want to shell out cash and you don't mind riding split up from your party, that is a great alternative.
hmm And then, of course, Rise does not have a single rider line,
Yep.
um, and that standby can get pretty gnarly.
But
So,
here's the thing. I'm not going to say that Disney is lying or manipulating,
yes.
but we have seen, statistically speaking, that Disney is far more likely to overestimate and significantly overestimate their posted wait times for Rise of the Resistance versus what the actual wait time is. This is even more pronounced in Orlando right now. Seeing kind of shocking numbers coming out of that
Oh,
recently. Um, you're going to wait for Rise of the Resistance, but you are very unlikely to wait as long as Disney says. Part of that is, padding it in case of breakdowns, but part of that might be to make that Lightning Lane extra fee look a little more attractive.
hmm
So, especially if you're willing to rope drop, put in that time to get there early in the morning, um, consider just waiting it out and stand by.
yeah. And then with Lightning Lane, you can only purchase one at a time for the next available arrival window. You can't choose your arrival window. And you can only do two per day, but I don't think you can repeat
Now that
rides,
that is
right?
very interesting because in Orlando, individual Lightning Lane, you can absolutely pick your arrival window.
Yeah.
So I am very interested to see how they are handling it in Disneyland that you cannot pick your arrival window for individual Lightning Lane. That that is a definite change. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to fly out there and see how it works for myself.
Yeah. It definitely seems intentional, though for what intent, I'm not entirely sure. And of course, like we said before, this is all optional. You don't have to use Disney Genie or Genie Plus or Lightning Lane to enjoy the rides that you want to ride, though it certainly does make it easier if you're willing to fork over the money for it. And then we've got all sorts of FAQs and top tips if you're interested over on attractionsmagazine.com. I have not tried Disney Genie yet, but I did use Max Pass when that was a thing, and I really enjoyed it.
I love
Um,
Max Pass.
it was amazing.
The other, I will point out the other big difference with Max Pass. Max Pass used to let you get a new attraction 90 minutes after you made one, even if there was a longer gap until your return time, and the gap is 120 minutes instead, which makes it a little less efficient with Genie Plus. And also, Max Pass let you get the same ride not twice in a row, but you could get it twice in the same day. Genie Plus is once per attraction.
Yeah.
So that is you got to plan your day out a little bit more carefully.
Yeah. And I also think you can't make reservations until you're geographically inside the park.
You have to yes, you have to activate this. That was the same as with Max Pass. You cannot make at Disneyland, you cannot make your first Genie Plus appointment until you have scanned in at the front of the park. However, if you scan in and then you want to go back to your hotel room, you should be able to do it from outside the park once you've entered for the day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the gamification of Max Pass where you
Oh
could
my God.
manipulate it and stack them all up.
It
I
was
mean,
brilliant. It was brilliant.
amazing.
And speaking of stacking, I did hear that my favorite early loophole with Genie Plus has been closed.
No.
Initially, with Genie Plus, if you booked one out that was more than 2 hours in advance, you would then have two entitlements that you could kind of piggyback for the rest of the day. Even once you used them, you would then be able to get a new one for each one. And you could even get a third or a fourth, depending on how far out you were scheduling. I haven't tried it personally because I haven't been back in the park since I heard, but apparently that loophole got closed so that once you use up that one that was booked far in advance, then you're back to just one entitlement. I hope that isn't true, but from what I hear, it is. So,
Dang.
I mean, they're gonna make sure that you can't. Yeah, that apparently, according to John, that loophole most of the time gone, but not. Yeah, this is the thing. You have to be a Talmudic scholar. It's like getting into the fine print of this system, and I'm sure even the people who have designed this no longer know all of the tips and tricks. So, yeah, I'll be going back and digging into it, but. I would rather just enjoy walking around the park and enjoying rides and not constantly sitting and refreshing my Genie Plus page to try to figure out when I can make my next reservation. But that's just me.
Agreed. I'm right there with you. That was one thing I loved about Max Pass so much was
It was
that you could
really
just
carefree.
you could just get them and the lines weren't that bad. Every
Mhm.
guest seemed like happy and not constantly with their face buried in their phone, but
Max
whatever.
Pass, we hardly knew ye.
We really did hardly know
We
ye
didn't.
at all.
Didn't appreciate you while we had you.
But that was everything that we had to share with you this week. And this would be the part of the show where I would share listener thank yous if we had any, but we don't. So instead, I'm
Well,
going.
no thank you then.
No, thank
We
you.
we thank you anyway for listening. But
Yes. So instead, I'm going to encourage you to head over to attractionsmagazine.com/store and pick up a subscription, to the Attractions Magazine. Our winter issue is coming soon. We were looking over covers and things not too long ago.
it's looking good.
Yes, so please pick that up once it's available. We would really appreciate it.
And I want to step in to thank once again our sponsor, Destinations with Character Travel. And also thank all of you who have listened and headed over to Apple Podcasts to give a review. If you haven't yet, please head on over there. Give us 5 stars. We don't want your 4 stars. We don't want your 3 stars.
No.
If you don't think we're perfect, just, tell us face to face, But but no, please leave us a review. And then I want to also, of course, want to share where you can find us at Attractions Magazine the rest of the week while you're waiting for our next podcast. You can find me at theunofficialguides.com, where you can pick up a brand new copy of my books. Unofficial Guide to Disneyland and Unofficial Guide to Universal just came out last week, so go buy 3 copies for all your friends. And you can also find me on Twitter at the UG Series or at the Unofficial Guides on Instagram. And Brittany, where can they find you?
You can find me at Brittany Tuttle. That's BRITTANITUTTLE. Yes, it's spelled funny on Twitter and Instagram, but also every day at attractionsmagazine.com, at Attractions on Twitter, at Attractions Magazine on Instagram, and youtube.com/attractionsmagazine, where you've been hanging out with us for the past hour or so. And until next week, I will hope you guys stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we'll see you next time. And cut. Okay, folks, now you are in the behind the scenes portion of the show.
Pull back the curtain.
Where we are trying to plan for our holidays, and that might require no more episodes for the rest of the year. So if that is the case, we are going to record another outro here in a second that you will see on the final version once it is uploaded to your favorite podcast listening services, once we get that finalized. So please, stepping back behind the curtain now. Okay. And since this is our last episode of the year, I hope you guys stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you in 2022.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, whatever other seasonal celebration you and your family. I hope it's peaceful and safe, and keep your hands clean. and we'll see you in the parks next year.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Boop. All right. Thank you very much for that. We will keep you posted on which version you get once this is edited and uploaded. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.